Huge thank you to Brian Pangburn for joining over on the Patreon in the main event tier. If you too would like to support Spike Piledriver Wrestling, follow the link to the description in Patreon and you could pledge your support today. Thanks for watching. Welcome back to Local to Global. My name is Anders and this is Spike Piledriver Wrestling. This is the save game where we're taking our created promotion using the 1992 Chronicles mod on Total Extreme Wrestling 9, and we're taking them from a complete zero everything, scratch, nothing promotion, and we're trying to make them the biggest in the world. It's 1997 now, January 1997, and we're on our march towards medium, which is one of the middle tier rankings if you're not familiar with how promotions are ranked in Total Extreme Wrestling 9. As I said, my name is Anders. If you're new here, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Check out all the rest of the videos in this series. We've got a WCW 2000 series as well. We've got a Patreon if you're interested in supporting the channel there. Like the video as well. Please send me your save game as well. I want to do a series where I take your save game and book your next show and make an absolute mess of it. I'm sure it will make for good content. So please send me your save game files and I'll do my worst, essentially. But today, it's not about that. It's about local to global. And what we're going to do with this episode is something slightly different. So normally what we do is we go through every single show and book them, and I'll show you the results and we'll go through things and we'll talk about it. But today's focus is very much on broadcasting deals and how we can increase our broadcasting deals as we get slightly bigger and get slightly better coverage across, well, not just the US and Canada, but across the world. And we'll cover that in more detail after we've done Glory Road, which is our first monthly event of the year. It's 1997, January, by the way. We did our last TV taping, which was 2 days ago in game, on the previous episode. So if you want to see what's happened in the build-up to this, make sure you check that out. But we'll go straight into our show tonight. It's going to be a good one, hopefully. Lots of good matches, 110 minutes worth of good matches. So, you know, a couple of titles on the line as well. Should be a good thing. And then we'll go and have a look at the broadcasting deals and have a bit of a refresh of what's going on around the company. But before we start, we'll have a look at our championship situation as we start the episode. Terry Funk is our current world heavyweight champion. He's been champion for 35 days, won it back at Clash of the Titans in December, beating Raven and ending his 427-day reign. He's defended the title once so far, but tonight he will be facing Raven and RVD in a three-way dance. Then we have our World Television Championship, which is currently held by Booker T. It's gone through quite a few changes of hands recently. He defeated Angus King, who defeated Tommy Dreamer, who left us to go to WCW. Tommy didn't defend the title once. He held it for 5 days. Angus King defended it once, but during the same TV taping, he lost it again. Booker has currently had one successful defense and been holding the title for 30 days. We also have some tag team champions, which are Edge and Christian, or rather Adam Impact and Christian Cage, the Suicide Blondes. They defeated Tommy Dreamer and Joe Kazana, both of which are traitors who have left us. But this tag team is now basically back to full fitness. So when they won the titles, Adam Impact got injured. He ruptured his spleen. So they haven't actually defended the titles yet, but they will defend them tonight against Turncoat Tommy Dreamer, Man of the People Tommy Dreamer, and his new tag team partner, Tracy Smothers, who has joined us and is also leaving us very, very soon. And then the final title of the regular titles is the Junior Heavyweight Championship, which we took when we bought out a Canadian promotion last summer. Super Crazy is our first official champion. The other champions on the title history are all from the previous company. This title is also going to be defended tonight. That's it. We're ready to go for Glory Road. And we are at the Knoxville Civic Coliseum with 6,000 fans in attendance. And we start with a junior tag team match with basically showcasing a lot of our new talent in the division. A couple of which are still rusty. So Psychosis and Negro Azteca are rusty. Negro Azteca and Shiru had poor chemistry, and Psychosis was off his game. So all around, a very good start to the show. Gets a 41 as Negro Azteca and Shiru get the victory. Azteca on Azteca violence as La Dinosauria gets the win for Negro over Angel, who definitely carried the match in terms of in-ring performance. He's one of the stars of the division in terms of in-ring. Not the most over, though. But none of them are really over anyway. But a good start to the show at 41, and we move forward to Jackie Fulton defeating Stevie Ray. So Jackie Fulton's one half of the Fantastics with his brother Bobby. This kind of sets them up for a tag team match against the Ebony Experience, which is what Harlem Heat is still called. It's 1997. We should probably call them Harlem Heat now. I've been threatening to do that for quite a few years, but I shall actually do it, I think. Stevie Ray does the job to Jackie Fulton, though. Gets a 55 for the match rating. Pretty good, solid all-round performance from both men. Obviously, Booker is in singles action later tonight. He was supposed to be facing Bobby Fulton for the TV title, but he is still in Japan, so he's not here tonight. Super Crazy then defended the Junior Heavyweight Championship against Taka Michinoku, who was supposed to win our Contenders tournament, but he was in Japan, so he got subbed out, and the guy who replaced him won the tournament and lost the title match. So Taka attacked Super Crazy after that on a recent episode of Unleashed, and now he has defeated Super Crazy for the title, so he's still unbeaten. Gets a great victory. Both men putting in really solid low 40s, which is good for the mid-card. And the match itself gets a 46. And Taka is the new Junior Heavyweight Champion. Well done to Super Crazy for carrying the division so far. Let's see how we get on with Taka as our new champion. We then get a promo from the Suicide Blondes, who make fun of Tommy Dreamer and his downward spiral, yes, pun intended, and how facing them tonight is career suicide. Blondes, pun intended as well, for both Dreamer and Tracy Smothers. I mean, career suicide as well, going to WCW and WWF respectively, after losing to the champions on Unleashed in singles action. So they won all 4 of those singles matches on TV in the last taping. And they also lose the tag team match because a clearly unhappy Tracy Smothers phoned in his performance. Thank you very much. And he's got zero chemistry with Tommy Dreamer as well, so it's a bit of a shit show. Never mind. The Suicide Blondes make their first defence of the titles, and this is probably Dreamer's last show with us. It's definitely Tracy Summers' last show. It's only his second or third because he signed with us and then cleared off the WWF. He only gets a 44, which is a real shame, but screw them both for phoning in their performances. When Edge and Christian have got the higher 2 rating out of the 2, you know it's been a bad day. Terry Gordy's apparently here. He's very unhappy and threw in some shoot comments. Wonderful. This is why you don't sign people, apparently. He lost recently to Booker T and he demands a damn rematch. If he loses, he's going to quit and fly his ass back to Japan. I think he already knows he's losing. So that's gone down an absolute storm, hasn't it? He's probably going to phone in his performance. No, he didn't actually. He put in a strong performance, a 43. But Booker defends his title again against Terry Gordy. He was more than happy to accept the rematch, and he gets a 61, which is a good rating. Booker gets a bit more popularity from a victory over Terry Gordy as well, which is always good. But Gordy is going. He signed with us and then immediately signed an exclusive deal with All Japan. So why did he bother? I don't know. Never mind. Terry Funk is back from Japan, the world champion, and the angle idea was a success here as well, and he used his freedom to improvise very, very nicely. He's seen that Raven and RVD have been at each other's throats since he left. I mean, they were at each other's throats when you left as well, Terry. So he's decided why not settle things the best way he knows how, a 3-way dance. And this gets a 92 from the old Funker himself. Excellent, excellent promo, building into our main event, which only gets a 69. I mean, whilst that's nice, that's a real shame. The creative finish was a failure. I think the fact we probably had to keep Funk strong to avoid him being pissed off has hindered the performance of the match. Raven only drops a 67. Funk got an 80. And RVD with a 75. But Van Dam wins. He wins the World Heavyweight title, I think, for the 3rd time, ending the reign of Terry Funk after just a month. 35 days, I think. Van Daminator gets the job done. A 69 is nice, but it's not quite at the level we were expecting for these 3 guys. But Van Dam is the new champion. We knew Funk wasn't going to be champion for very long. A little bit of a transitional reign between Raven and Van Dam. But that is still a nicely done from Funk. He's not going anywhere, though. We're not going to get rid of him. But Van Dam's victorious. But the beaten and battered Terry Funk shows him the biggest respect he can by handing Van Dam the world title and passing that metaphorical torch. Again, angle idea is a success. Gets a 77 and should hopefully still give us a good rating for the show. It does, a 65. Not too bad, but if slightly better. If we got sort of a 75 for that main event, we could probably have got our show rating up to like 69, 70 and confirm that we'd definitely win the regional battle, but we probably still will win it with a 65. Excellent stuff though. Popularity up in 18 regions, which is all of them it could be. We're going to give Funk some praise, Raven some praise, and Rob Van Dam some praise as well, just to make sure they're all very happy. And you know, the top of the card, we want to make sure they keep staying happy. That's all we need to do. Finance-wise, we have going to made a lot of money, $90,000 from this show. That's ridiculous. It really is. So, okay, that's good. Popularity recap up everywhere. We're up to 40 now in the Mid-South, 55 in the Southeast. We are going to be at medium very, very soon. 45 in the Tri-State, up into 21s and 28s in Canada. That's just continuing to tick up everywhere. That's really, really good. I'm very, very happy with everything I see on that page. And that is Glory Road. We do want to check a few things before we go into the broadcasting stuff. So I want to have a quick look at how some of our roster is looking popularity-wise. I'm going to suspect that Terry Gordy's walked out. That's what I'm predicting from the mail that we'll receive as soon as we get back to our mailbox. But I want to have a quick look at the likes of Booker T, see how his popularity is doing after a couple of good victories over Terry Gordy. I want to see how Stephen Regal's doing as well. He wasn't on this show, but I forgot to look after the last one. Okay, so Tracy Smothers is... Yeah, I don't care. You're leaving me, mate. 137,000 watched Glory Road last night on PBS, so well done to them. Right, let's have a quick look at some of our overness. So, Adam Impact is now into the 40s. That's really good. So is Christian Cage. They are getting over now. They're nearly... In fact, they are more over than Kane, which is excellent. Booker T, they're more over than Booker T as well. He's slightly struggling to get over. Van Dam in the mid-50s, 62 in the southeast. Raven, very similar levels. Terry Funk, again, very similar levels. They are our most over people. We've also got Perry Saturn, who's very over as well. Where's Stephen Regal? He's still struggling to get over. I don't understand it. Never mind. Also struggling to get over is Lance Storm. We haven't really used him much recently. So that's that. If we quick look at our creative page whilst we're here. Van Dam, Funk, Raven, as you'd expect, at the top of the franchise players. Booker's on this list now as well, and so is the Kid. Next big things, Christian Cage appears there. Tex Slazenger for some reason as well. He's a hot prospect. So's Lance Storm, Ultimo Guerrero, Jackie Fulton. Talk the talk, the likes of people you'd expect. I mean, Christian's on there as well, which is really good. Raven, Funk, Lawler, Dutch, all on the Talk the Talk page. Showstoppers, probably again, similar to what you'd expect. I mean, Tracy Smothers being on there is a little bit of a surprise. Maybe Bobby Fulton as well, but Van Dam, Raven, Booker, as you'd expect. Ring Generals, again, similar sort of list. Alex Porto's up there as well. And the other Fulton and Tim Horner, who we're probably going to have to get rid of because he's a bully. Booker T is hot, hot, hot right now. So's Funk, Raven, Van Dam, and Perry Saturn. Who's not? Gordy, Smothers, Horner, Fulton. Yeah. Excellent. Hidden Gems. We've not looked at this list for a while, and it's pretty similar to last time we looked at it, so we probably won't sign anyone off that list. Right, broadcasting, the topic of the day. Now, it's January, and you can see here that our deal with PBS, obviously they're a public broadcaster, which means we get no revenue from them whatsoever. It's free to air. That deal runs out in March, so that's 2 months' time. Our syndication deal for Unleashed, again, public, we don't get any money from it, runs out in April, so it's slightly longer. But that only covers the US. Our events are covered with a medium coverage in both the US and Canada, which is really, really good stuff. So what I want to look at now are a few broadcasters that we've been targeting. So I want to get some coverage in the US, and it needs to be a commercial cable channel, and any will negotiate. This in fact, top of the list. A&E are who we are going to be moving our broadcasting to. They might be against wrestling, but we are now actually fulfilling all of the requirements to do so. And they have got big coverage across the whole country. We meet all the requirements now because we've just ticked over to 40 in our third region. All of the production values, we passed that as well. So this is who we are going to be replacing both PBS and syndication with for both our TV show and our monthly events. So that kind of answers that question straight away. If we look at any others that will negotiate with us, who else we could potentially move to. New on the list is MTV2, but they've only got medium coverage. No one else has got any sort of coverage similar. There's another Views there have got medium, they're commercial. But there are no other networks that have the same level of coverage as what we need. In fact, PBS aren't. Although PBS won't be on there because they're already with us. So A&E are who we're going to be moving to in the US. Yes. For Canada, though, we've got a few options. So we've got SportScope, who we need 23 in 4 regions. So if we look at our size page just briefly, I can't bring it up on here. 1 second. I can bring it up on... No, I can't bring it up on there either. Right, size page. Let's look at Canada for a second. 21, 21, 28, and then 14. So we need to bring up either British Columbia or Saskatchewan to 20. Or is it 20? Let's go back. Broadcasting page. not there. We want to be anywhere Canada. That's what we want. Not there. And cable commercial. That's what we want to see. Right. For Sportscope, they require 23 in 4 regions. So we're a little bit way off for them. But they've got medium coverage across the country, which is excellent. There's also TSN2, who we are very close to being. This is the fallback option. We've got 20. We need to get 22 popularity in 3 regions, which we'll have in about a month, if not less time than that. But they've only got very small coverage, so I'm a little bit reticent to go with them. There's also Omni Television, who again have got medium coverage, and they need 30 popularity in 2 regions, which obviously we're not at yet, but I feel like that might be a little bit closer. We've got 1 region at 28 and 2 regions at 21, so that's 9 points we need basically, because we'll get the 2 in Alberta very soon. But for Sportscope, we need 9 there as well. It's about the same actually, isn't it? So we either need to get British Columbia up or get Ontario or Quebec up, basically, by 9 points over the next couple of months. That's the challenge, to get our Canadian popularity to a point. I don't think we're going to be able to do it in 2 months, that's for sure. So it may be that we use TSN2 as our sort of middle ground, where they've got very small coverage, so we'll get to the 22 in 3 regions, which we'll definitely do by the time we need to replace TBS, and just sign these guys on a 3-month deal or something, and buy a bit of time to then be able to move on to Omni and or Sportscope, whichever one is the one we end up going with. So that's Canada. The next one, which is a bigger challenge, is the British Isles. Now, I've mentioned several times how I want to get some coverage in the UK and by proxy Europe, because Eurosport covers both all of the UK and all of Europe at small level. That's fine. And we need 34 popularity in 2 regions. Now, obviously, we have got that in Northern England, but we need 14 points in either the Midlands or Wales, or a lot more than that in Europe. So we're not going to do that. So the point here is we're going to have to start putting some shows on in the Midlands, I think, which is close to my home. So we're going to possibly look at running some shows in the Midlands and also in British Columbia, maybe, to try and bring up. Although I'm still not sure what the right tactic here is for Canada. So what we're going to do is have another look again. So Omni need 30 and 2. Sportscope need 23 and 4. And they're neutral wrestling. Omni are neutral low risk, so we don't really bother about risk. A medium risk. What about who we're moving to in the US? A&E, they're medium risk. What about Eurosport? That might seal the deal, to be honest. Eurosport are medium risk as well. So potentially we'll move to Omni. So we need to do some shows in Canada, some shows in the Midlands, and try and get our popularity up as quick as we can. As well as, well, we've already at the point where we need to be in the US, but as well as getting the rest of Canada up. There are potentials for Mexico. I mean, we might as well look at it now. We're a little bit far off for Mexico, so it's not something I want to tackle in this video. We're not going to get there at this point. But Space, who I believe are these days owned by Warner. Yeah, it says they're owned by Warner Media there, because I'm pretty sure these are the guys who air AAR on Max and Space. So I think that's right. Anyway, they require 30 in 4 regions, which we are a long way away from in Mexico right now. We're at 11s and 6s. But as we build up our popularity in the US, that will continue to spill over into Canada, and then we might start running some shows in Canada as well and see if that is. But there's not much other places we can get coverage from in Mexico that will actually help us. So I mean, there's these guys here, but you have to be in Mexico. We could be close to getting on that broadcaster, but you need to be based in Mexico to do so. So we aren't. There we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to rejig the schedule during January, February, March, add some extra shows in both the British Isles and Canada to try and get to a position where when we are renewing our broadcasting deals in March and April, we're getting better ones and better coverage everywhere. So what the format of this episode will be is the Unleashed tapings and all of the All-Star branded shows in the UK and whatever we're going to brand our shows for in Canada. They'll happen sort of off screen, and we'll be back at the beginning of February for Ascension. We'll do that show properly. We'll do a recap of the Unleashed tapings in the meantime and the other shows that happen. We'll refresh where we are in terms of size and broadcasting deals. And then we'll do the same again for February and do Full Throttle and see. That'll be the last show, I believe, that airs on PBS. Is that correct? PBS runs out on the 9th of March. So Full Throttle will be the last show to air on PBS. And then we'll install some new broadcasting deals in March. And then we'll probably be ending the episode there because that's 3 months. So that's quite a long time to get through. So we're going to do that. We're going to do a slightly different format, slightly less focus on what's happening on the shows. We'll still obviously focus on the monthly events like we've just done with Glory Road. But the TV and the side events around the world are kind of just going to happen. We're going to probably try and sign a few people who can appear on those shows exclusively. But we aren't going to install Canadian titles or British titles or anything like that. We might bring a European title at some point. Because I know that's been asked for in the comments. But that's what we're going to do. So next time you see me, it'll be the beginning of February, but we'll have done some shows in the background. Hopefully have improved our size as well and got more popularity points in certain areas. Important point to note as well, the shows in Britain, whilst they'll be run in Britain, will still be broadcast on PBS. So they will indirectly help the Canadian growth as well. So we'll see how that goes on. And I'll be back. For you, it'll be a few seconds, but for me, it'll be a little while as we book through a month. And we'll get to Ascension again at the beginning of February. We've got a new world champion, don't forget that. Right, we'll be back. Ascension, yes. Thank you. Okay, we're back before we've really done anything. And I'm going to make a daft decision. Now, this will not be the first one you will have seen in this save. But the World Association of Wrestling, the one run by Paige's dad, Soraya's dad, is in massive debt, 167,000, which is a lot of money. But they do have 8 popularity points more in the Midlands. So I'm tempted to just buy them and bump start there. And then I kind of get more talent that I can get in the UK that's over a little bit. They've got a title, their British heavyweight title, which I'm tempted to just sort of turn into a European title. Potentially. And I can add them to the likes of Stephen Regal and Dave Taylor, who I've got signed. I've also signed Ben McCoy and someone else who I can't remember right now. But they do have a few people on the roster who are pretty good. So like of Doc Dean, who's young and really over in the UK. So that'll be someone I'm going to definitely steal. Basically everyone on this page as well. And then Ricky Knight and Scrubber Daly, who are their current champions. So I will do that. And then I'll have a tournament for the European title, and I'll do it all on their shows, because why not? Speaking of their shows, what shows do they even have? They have shows called the World Association of Wrestling, which they currently hold in the Burgess Civic Hall in the Midlands. It's a different part of the Midlands to where I am. So I'm going to do it, I think. It's a little bit ridiculous of me to do so. But for the small fee of $167,000, we can steal them and take their popularity. Who's Skull Murphy? I mean, is he any good? He's over. Let's sign him as well. He's old, though. He's retired. And Carl Kramer, not Krumer. Right, we're going to do it. I'm just going to do it. It's a stupid decision. I mean, let's look at our finances, though. We've got loads of money. So it really is a stupid decision, but I'm going to do it. I just want the extra little boost. They've rejected it anyway. Oh, after all that, I should have checked before I even started the video. Right, never mind. That's really silly of me. I'm not going to take them over, am I? What about these guys in Canada? They're probably not. No, they've only got a couple of points extra here. Anyone I can buy. I like buying companies. It's just something I like doing. Iberia. Associação Portuguese Wrestling 19, and that's not. If it was higher than the Midlands, I'd be tempted. So we've got 20 in the Midlands right now. If that was higher, I'd be very tempted. Anyone else worth buying? No, there's no one worth buying. Right, ignore this portion of the video. We're going to just. In fact, I've got. In the retired titles, inactive titles, retired, there we are. The British heavyweight title that we got from All Star when we bought them, I might repurpose that for now, just to give a bit of a purpose to the shows that we're going to run. I mean, I might not. I don't really know anymore. I'm a bit lost. But if we look at our roster, who have got popularity of 25 plus in the Midlands, not the Mid-Atlantic or the Midwest or Mid-South or Manitoba there. No, that's the North. Oh, gosh. Where? Midlands there. We've got at least 6 guys. So Ben McCoy, who we've just signed. Dave Taylor, who's already here. Marty Jones, who we've just signed. That was the other guy we just signed. Stephen Regal. Terry Funk apparently has got some. We'll just use him on our British shows as well. He can win everything. And Tito Santana's still over in the Midlands. So we've got 6 guys we can use. We can bleed in a few other guys who are not too far off in terms of popularity and do it that way. So back to the original plan. Ignore me. I'm going crazy. Okay, we are a month down the line and we've got a lot of shows to go through. Now, I did kind of make a bit of a boo-boo by holding 3 shows in the Midlands as I was testing out how much popularity gains we can get, and I think having just one show with free tickets is the way to go. We then also had the All-Star show in Preston, and then we did the TV taping, which we've just finished now, before we get to Ascension. So a quick run-through of what's happened. Not really much to note from the All-Star shows. Booker T and RVD defended their titles. Suicide Blondes defended their title. Then Stephen Regal had a match against some random local jobber. And Marty Jones debuted against Terry Funk in a losing effort. That got a 61. We also got a 60 with a bit of a less of a show as Regal and Marty Jones went to a time limit draw. This was in front of a free no ticket sales, free entry kind of thing. This one was paid entry, this one was free, so that's why there's an uptick in the attendance. Just usual kind of just ticked through. Ebony Experience won a tag match, RVD beat Dave Taylor, and then Regal and Marty Jones went to a draw. Then for some reason I thought, let's hold another show in the Midlands and see if we can get any more, and we didn't get any more gains, so it was a little bit of a waste of time. But never mind, Marty Jones got his victory over Stephen Regal in the main event. Ebony Experience renamed to Harlem Heat because I was finally remembered to do it. They got another victory against the Kid and Savio Vega. We had some juniors involved, and then Ben McCoy won a triple threat against 2 local workers. And then we had the show in the Northern England in Preston, and this one was a bit of a poor show, really. I went with the main event of RVD and Jerry Lawler, and it tanked a little bit, unfortunately. Regal and the Kid got a good victory in the co-main. Marty Jones beat Brian Lawler earlier in the night as well, and Taka defending his junior heavyweight title. That was all the shows in England, and then we finally got to the TV taping. They were all on consecutive Sundays and Saturdays. So Saturdays in Midlands, and then Sunday at the end of the month. And then finally the Unleashed taping. Right, this is where the interesting stuff happened. So the Hardy Boys defeated the Texas Outlaws in the opener of the first show. They then lay out a challenge for the champions, the Suicide Blondes, to put their titles on the line at Ascension, which is happening very shortly. Taka then did his first televised, in the US at least, victory for the junior heavyweight title, defending against Angel Azteca. Terry Funk talked about wanting his title back after losing in the 3-way back at Glory Road. Raven then beat him in the number 1 contenders shot match, and then revelled in the fact that he's stolen Terry Funk's rematch. That moved Oz on to episode 102. By the way, we were in front of 1,290 people at Disney MGM Studios, which is pretty good. This is yet to be broadcast, so it kind of doesn't work exactly with how we're going. But Taka... Oh no, we started out with Raven telling RVD that he got his number. Basically, he's beaten all the content. We're going to have a similar promo later in the night, so don't worry about that. Taka then defeated Ultimo Guerrero. Booker then went on a talk about he's got a quest to be the best TV champion. He then defeated Savio Vega as he started on that journey to be the best. I don't know how many defenses he got now, but I think it's like 4 or 5. RVD then mentioned about how his challenges are lining up. So Raven's got a title shot. He's also facing the Kid in the main event tonight. And then he did defeat the Kid in a 77 rated main event. So that gets the show rating of 73. The previous one was 68, so a little bit of an improvement. Basically, all around, it was a strong show, whereas the last one had a slightly better main event and promo, but the rest of the card was weaker. Again, with the third taping, the main event was really strong. The promo at the end was really strong. The rest of the card a little bit weaker. So Rhino defeated Stevie Ray in the opener, and then he called out Booker T and told him he wants to face the other brother for the TV title. Super Crazy got a victory against Negro Azteca, and then activated his rematch clause against Taka Michinoku, which we'll see on tonight. Ascension. Raven defeated Perry Saturn in the main event, getting a 73, which is a really solid victory, and then talked about his road to title number 3, which is hopefully, for him at least, hoping to get tonight. And then the final TV taping of the block. Still, again, this one will air on the 21st of Feb, so it's a little bit out of sync, but yeah, who cares? It's 97, no one cares about live TV. Taka Michinoku got another victory over Super Delphine. Booker then accepted the challenge of Rhino to put his title on the line. The Hardy Brothers defeated the Fantastics, getting another big victory for them. And they talk about how they've earned their title shot and are looking forward to facing the Suicide Blondes. Booker T then defeated Ike Porteau in the main event for the TV title. And we closed out with a Raven and RVD brawl to try and bring the ratings up a little bit, but it didn't quite work. Got us a 59, so it's a bit of a mixed bag, ranging from 59 to 73 on the TV taping, but it was enough, along with Glory Road and all of these TV tapings here. In fact, that 73 was the best show of the year so far, so there we go. That won us the regional battle, but finance-wise, we only made 30 grand for the month, and a lot of that was by running those extra 2 shows in the Midlands that we didn't need to run. It was just extra costs that we didn't need, so there's that there. In terms of the size, we maximised our gains in the US. We literally, during the TV taping, we didn't gain anything for the last 3 shows because we just filled it all up. But you can see we are surpassing the requirements for PBS. I think we already were surpassing the requirements for PBS, but we definitely are now. 55 Southeast, very close to medium. I think it'll be 2 or 3 months before we get to that point. In Canada, I think after this show, Ascension, we'll be over the 22 barrier, so we'll sign with TSN2 to basically get some small coverage, or I don't know if it's small or very small coverage for the TV shows, so that will help keep ticking that over. And then by the time we get to April, when the event, I think it's April or maybe March, I'm not sure if it's April or March, when the events with PBS run out, then we'll sign probably TSN again to a smaller length contract to keep that ticking over until we basically at the point where we can sign one of the better broadcasters to get more coverage in Canada. Still a long way off in British Isles, but we are up to 21 in the Midlands, 51 in the Northern England. So once that gets up to, I think it's 34, we can sign with Eurosport and get some great coverage across Europe and the British Isles. But that one is a long way off. That one's a long-term goal. The Canadian one's very close to being fulfilled. So, right, we will go into Ascension right now. We've got a lot of things on the table. We've covered a lot of them from the TV taping, and we are at the Von Braun Civic Center in Huntsville, Alabama. 7,000 in attendance, 7,204 in attendance. I believe that is our record. I will double check after the show, but I believe that is our record, and we should keep setting records every single month. We start the show with Rob Van Dam. He talks about how he knows he can beat Raven. He just needs to prove it to himself that he can do it when the title is on the line. The self-doubt is creeping in. This is all Raven's mind games. RVD has beaten Raven, but not when the world title is on the line. That is a continuing thread, and hopefully it's something you've picked up on. But RVD lost his second title to Raven, and he only won the title after beating Terry Funk in that 3-way. So he's still... In fact, I'm trying to think whether... Yeah, I think he pinned Funk. I hope he pinned Funk, because that's part of the story. Because if he pinned Raven, then I've made a boo-boo. 76 for the opening angle. And we go into our next match, which is the tag title match. And I wanted the Hardy Boys to win this one, but the discrepancy in popularity between the two teams, so Edge and Christian are basically at 50. The Hardys are in the low 20s. Too much of a gap, essentially, to bridge to get the Hardys into a position where the Suicide Blondes will happily lose to them. But we'll get there. We are going to try and get there again next month or then month after. But it gets a 52 this one, as the ropes are used for leverage by Adam Impact as he pins Jeff Hardy. They made their third defense of the titles. The Hardys will continue to try and get themselves to a position to challenge and win the titles here. But cheating to win is the order of the day for the Nest. We then get a six-man tag, a trios match, as Angel Azteca, Psicosis, and Juventud Guerrera defeat Negro Azteca, Shiryu, and Flamante Turbo. Juvi got the victory with a 450 splash. A mixed bag of in-ring performances. Angel with a 41. Negro Azteca with a 42. Sorry, I thought that said 7 for a second. I had to get my glasses on. And Flamante Turbo got a 27. So a nice mix of things. He's still rusty. A good match, though, for the lower card. Gets a 40. here as well. And we move forward to the title match in the junior heavyweight division, and Super Crazy gets his title back with a victory over Taka in 12 minutes. Now, I decided to do this because basically Taka's got a lot of other companies he works for, so it's kind of... I wasn't sure whether he was actually going to be on the card because he was supposed to be working for Wing, where Terry Funk is tonight. But he was here, so we gave them the match and had Taka lose to Super Crazy. In-ring performance-wise, they're both really good and will probably flip the titles again in a few months anyway. But it was a good little reign for Taka, only a month long, I think. But still, Super Crazy now back to being the junior heavyweight champion. And we follow that out with Booker T beating Rhino, but only by disqualification when Don Callis runs in and attacks Booker T. This is his 6th defense of the TV title, and he gets a 57. And Don Callis did some good work at ringside. He's now Rhino's manager. But we move on with this one, and the story continues as Rhino and Don Callis attack Booker T, but they're forced to stop as Stevie Ray rushes down to the ring to save his brother from further damage. This gets a 45, and we're kind of trying to use Booker T and Stevie to get Rhino and Callis over a little bit, and hopefully bring them both at the card. Rhino's in-ring performances still need a little bit of work, but we'll go build to a tag match and then potentially another showdown between Rhino and Booker for the TV title. But still solid. I'm pretty happy with everything involved there. And then we get into the really sharp end of things as Perry Saturn and Tim Horner defeat Angus King and The Kid in a tag team match. Perry making King submit with the rings of Saturn, and this is just basically a bit of a Perry Saturn showcase. That's unsurprising, possibly. Kane and X-Pac having excellent chemistry together. Maybe we'll start using them as a tag team as well, because our tag team ranks need a little bit of work as we kind of go through that fluctuating cycle of focusing on tag teams and not. And we're currently in the not phase. 71 though for the match rating is excellent. Perry Saturn far and away the best in-ring performer. And a nice little team with Tim Horner there. Now, moving on, we go to a Raven promo, and he tells RVD that the pressure is all on the champion tonight. The lights are shining bright, and everyone knows that Van Dam can't handle the heat. Raven doesn't even need to beat RVD tonight. RVD has already beaten himself before the match even begins. And that gets a 75 and leads nicely into our main event, which is fantastic. An 81. But it's a time limit draw. 30 minutes go, and we have no winner. The creative finish was a nice success. In-ring performances up there as well, 72 and 74. And we finish with a draw. No conclusive victor. RVD still hasn't beaten Raven when the title is on the line. Gets an 81. Very, very strong main event. And that gives us a 74 overall. And the only ping being that slight penalty for broadcast quality, but we're not going to be able to handle that anytime soon. 18 regions should have increased popularity, and hopefully that gets the two remaining regions in Canada over 22, and we can sign that broadcasting deal. But let's find out. Let's address the locker room first. We'll go with Van Dam and Raven getting some praise, and we'll also who should we give the final? We'll give it to Perry Saturn as well. Keep his spirits up nice as well. And there we go. Pleased, happy, pleased, good. Finance-wise, made a lot of money on the show. Over 100,000 on the show tonight. Our merchandise, by the way, I meant to mention, is finally upgraded. We'll have a quick look at that in a second. Literally yesterday in games on the 1st of February. So we'll cover that in a second. We are up to 22 in those two regions in Canada. So we're going to go and sign that broadcasting deal. Up to 56 in the Southeast, 46 in the Tri-State, 40 Mid-Atlantic, 41 Mid-South. Everywhere's going up really nicely now. It's literally Hawaii, Puerto Rico, and the Northwest are the only ones not in the 30s now, which is just crazy when you come to think of it. But we're going nicely in those two. In Quebec and Ontario up to 22. The Maritimes and Manitoba up to 11. It's going to be a while before we can get one of Saskatchewan or British Columbia up higher than I think it needs to be in the 20s. Maybe a little bit higher than that. I can't remember exactly for the other broadcast deals to be able to be signed. But we'll go and sign now a short-term TV deal on TSN2 in Canada to get some coverage there. So that should hopefully continue to compound the growth we are seeing in Canada by having our Unleashed shows broadcast there. As obviously we've been broadcasting Unleashed for 2 years now, I think. I think the taping we've just finished got to 104th episode, so that's 2 years. If you can count 52 times 52 times 2, not 52 times 52, because that is more than 2 years. That's 52 years. WCW making some charitable donations, good for them. Hoovie's relocated. Great. Savio Vega's contract is up. Not sure. We've not really been using him much. And Ascension was watched by nearly 140,000. And that's going to improve next time around, hopefully. Let's have a look at broadcasting deals. It's March for PBS. So we've got one more monthly show with PBS, and then we can look to bring on A&E for the events. The syndication runs out on the 24th of April, but we'll have a look now at who we can get a deal with. TSN are open to negotiations. Let's just have a quick look for anyone else for coverage in Canada who we can sign. PBS, we don't need to worry about there. We can get... That's only going to cover 3 regions, though, for TELUS. That's pay-per-view as well. And Télévision 4 Saisons sounds very French. So we'll have good coverage in Quebec, but nowhere else. So we'll go with TSN2. It's very small, which is not great, but it will give us a little bit of a boost. So we'll have a new deal for Unleashed, and we'll see. We don't want to go for that long. We just want to be at 3 months. And what time slot do they want to give us? They're happy with early evening, early daytime. What about late night, graveyard? So I think early evening is better. We want to get some revenue. So how much can we push this? 40% without paying anything. So we'll go to 40%. They're not asking for exclusive rights as well. So that maybe we could just see what other coverage we can get. So let's propose that deal there for 3 months. Go ahead, sign it. Yep. Will Télévision 4 Saisons want to deal with as well? Can they do? Can we do that as well? Not willing to. Okay, so 3 months. We want a early evening. Oh, they won't accept a deal unless it's okay. So we can't do that. So TSN2 don't care, but the only other one we want to potentially sign would want exclusivity. So never mind. We've got coverage for a TV show now. Anyway, for Unleashed, and we'll cover the upgrade for events when we get there after our next show, which, if we look at our calendar, will be Full Throttle at the beginning of March. So what we're going to do in the meantime, once again, we'll do a Midlands show on All-Star Wrestling and then a Northern England one to try and get our 21 and 51 boosted a little bit in the British Isles. And then we think we've got a TV taping for Unleashed at the end of the month. So yeah, at the end of the month, we'll have the Unleashed taping, which will be the first one broadcast in Canada. And then we'll go to Full Throttle, and that's probably where we're going to end the episode, because after that we'll probably go forward to the 7th of March when that, I think it's the 7th. Was it the 7th? Let's just double check. 9th. The 9th of March when the PBS deal ends, and we'll basically sign some new ones, and then we'll end the episode. So, brilliant. Right, let's go forward and do our 2 shows in the UK, and be back after the TV tapings as we get to Full Throttle. Okay, we're back for Full Throttle, and I want you to let me know in the comments how you're finding this episode with a slightly different format, whether we're just basically covering the events and doing a recap of the TV, whether that works for you or not. Let me know in the comments, basically. I'm trying this something different. If it doesn't work, we'll revert to form and see how we get on. Or if you want to see something completely different from that as well, again, comments is where the place to be. Right, as we say, we will go through the show since Ascension. Now, we did it properly in February. We just did the Midlands show, which, again, didn't see much in the way of anything notable. Steven Regal challenged Marty Jones to a rematch, and he accepted, and they both won various matches as well. Terry Funk was in fine form against Negro Azteca from the Cruiserweight division, and that was match of the night. We then went to Preston and saw Regal defeat Marty Jones, and Jones announced that he was retiring as well. Regal getting the last laugh. Bit of a shorter show as well. The Kid getting a victory over David Taylor, and the Hardy Boys getting a nice victory as well. Then we went into the Unleashed taping. So they got a 55 and a 59 for the ratings. We'll see what that did to the popularity on the size screen in a second. But TV tapings next, and before we went into the TV tapings, our ring was delivered to the wrong place, so we had to use a spare, less good ring. Less good is probably not the right word, but essentially it hampered our overall rating for the show, which was wonderful if we didn't have enough production penalties as it is. So the TV tapings, you can see, kind of 53. There was one at 66, but the rest kind of in the low to mid 50s. A little bit disappointing. But anyway, we started out show 105, and the first one that's aired on TSN2 with an RVD announcement that there will be a 4-way dance at Full Throttle, which you will see very shortly. So we then had some qualifying matches over the next couple of weeks. But first off, some debuts in the Cruiserweight division as we kind of try and flesh out the Rudo side and compared to the Technico side. I'm using the Lucha terms because most of them are luchadors. So El Hijo del Diablo and Del Solitario also debuted along with El Maligno. They got a victory in a match that included champion Super Crazy, debuting El Sagrado and Flamante Turbo. So Diablo got the victory, so not over Super Crazy. That will give him a title match on the next bank of TV tapings, I think. Just trying to flesh out the division a little bit, but we move on. Rhino got a solid victory over Tito Santana and then called out Booker T. Well, Don Callis called out Booker T, not Rhino. We're finally using Cyrus a little bit better here, Callis there. And then in the main event, Perry Saturn got the victory over Jerry Lawler to qualify for the 4-way and got a nice little promo afterwards announcing that he wants to return to the top. The main event was pretty good. The rest of the card, a little bit of a down compared to where we normally are, but a 53 for the overall show again, with those penalty for the broadcast quality and for the poor ring quality as well. A little bit disappointing, got a 53 though. 1,300 in attendance in the southeast. The next show, which hasn't aired yet, but don't worry about that, it's kind of happened in canon anyway. Funk started the night saying he will fight anyone for a shot at the title. His opponent, X-Pac, the Kid, was supposed to be in that match, but he ended up working elsewhere on the night, so kind of put a dampener on things. So we dropped in Steve Regal, because why not? Rhino got another victory, this time over Tim Horner. Nice solid match there, 57, much better than the week before. Matt Hardy got a victory over Angus King as well, 52, trying to build the Hardys up with victories over members of the Nest. And then Regal announced he will step up to the plate because, well, why not? Then lost to Terry Funk in a cracking match, a 77 rated main event, which was followed by a Raven attack on Funk to get a 92. Raven, I should have mentioned during the RVD promo, he's already qualified because he and RVD obviously drew at Ascension, so there's a little bit of tension there between the two of them, and now we've got Funk and Perry Saturn involved as well. So it's 3 faces, 1 heel, and that leads to the next week, which had a tag team contest, which saw Raven and Terry Funk having to be teammates, and they didn't have any chemistry whatsoever. But we'll get to that. Funk announces at the beginning of the night that he's going to team with Raven. He doesn't like it one bit, but he'll do it because he wants to win. The Hardy Brothers then defeated Rex King and Tim Horner, and then demanded another title shot. Whether they get it or not is another thing. I don't think their openness is quite there yet compared to the Suicide Blondes. Rhino and Don Callis then got an upset victory in a tag team match over Harlem Heat. Rhino pinning Booker T with a gore, setting himself up nicely for a TV title match at the next episode. And then we saw the tag team match end in a complete no contest as RVD, Saturn, Raven and Funk just could not keep things under control, and we end the show with a massive 4-way brawl. A little bit disappointing. A couple of the angles are really highly rated here, but it only got a 58 overall. And then we go into the final show of the taping, where RVD starts the night by saying he's not afraid to fight 3 men. He'll take on all comers in that 4-way dance. We then get a debuting Masato Tanaka defeating Savio Vega in the opening contest. Gets a 43, not too bad of a start there. Jeff Hardy then does the same as his brother did against Angus King to get a victory. And then Terry Funk talks about how this may be his last stand and his last chance to win the World Heavyweight title again. And we'll see how he gets on at Full Throttle. And then in the main event of the TV taping and this episode, Rhino defeated Booker T to win the World Television title. And he's a monster. He just is a monster afterwards. He's the champion and he's a monster. But we've got a new TV champion, which is definitely an upset, but we were building to it a little bit. So we'll just have a quick recap. Super Crazy Junior Champion, RVD World Heavyweight Champion, Tag Champs are Edge and Christian, and TV Champion is Rhino. Now, you may be asking why we've cut the legs out from Booker T, and this is why he's leaving. Booker T is leaving. He's going to WCW, just like everyone else blooming does. Everyone goes to WCW, and it's so frustrating and annoying. But Finance-wise for the month of February, now we didn't make those mistakes that we did in January. We made a massive $96,000, which is just stupid, really. We're over $500,000 now. If we make the same for the next few months, we'll be at $1 million, which is just ridiculous. And we'll start doing that extra increase to the production on the broadcasting side. That's really good. You can see here merchandise has ticked up massively, and that is because we upgraded our merchandise and it finally came through. And we're starting on to see who is by wrestler, at least. We're already upgrading as well, again, by the way, to get to level 6. We're already at comprehensive. But last month, Terry Funk was our top merch seller, followed by RVD, Perry Saturn, Booker T, the little traitor. The Kid, Jerry Lawler up there still, Raven. Obviously, he's a heel, so he's down a little bit. And then you can see even Dutch Mantel manages to break into the top 11. He got us $3. So someone bought a Dutch Mantel t-shirt. And someone's done it again this month. There must be fans out there of him. Or maybe it was an action figure or a trading card or a poster. Who knows for $3. So, yeah, we made some money on some merch. Great stuff. We're doing the upgrade again, by the way, as I mentioned. Production-wise, it's still that broadcast quality issue we've got to hold us back a little bit at the moment. $7,500 per month is what we currently pay. It moves up to $75,000, which seems like a big step at the moment, but it might be something we do pretty soon anyway. Right, the thing we need to check is size. Now, obviously, this is the last show that's going to be on PBS. We're going to, after the show's done, we're going to sign a deal with A&E. That is a given, because we're already over the threshold of the requirements there for the US. And then Canada, we've signed TSN. We aren't quite at a position to move on to one of the bigger networks yet. So that's probably going to slow down our growth in Canada, but keep it ticking over. Because instead of one show being broadcast at a medium level, all of our shows will be broadcast at a very small level. So it should hopefully net out, and we'll get to a point where we can grow in Canada in a few months' time and move on to a bigger network. We moved up 2 points in the Midlands in the British Isles, which is great growth. For a single month. Obviously, having a free show rated 55 is going to help. So that helps there. Maybe if we move up 2 every month, that won't be too long. I mean, we need 11 more points of popularity to get to the point where we can be broadcast on Eurosport. It's probably going to take us the best part of a year, whether it's sort of by the end of 1997, hopefully, we'll be in a position where we can broadcast in Europe and in the UK. And get more growth there as well. But everything else is ticking over nicely. We'll be on air in Canada and the US on our preferred networks sooner rather than later. But now it's time for Full Throttle with a 4-way main event and some other stuff, which we'll get to now. We start the night in the Freedom Hall Civic Centre in front of 8,500 people, with the Hardy Brothers defeating Alex Porto and Savio Vega. Vega and Porto having zero chemistry, which is not a good start to the night. Vega is almost at the end of his contract as well. He will be going after this show. And it gets a 50 rating, which is not a bad start to the night. Strong start, it says here, but crowd still simmering. We'll see how we get on moving forward. We get a promo afterwards with the Suicide Blondes. They don't want to hear anything about another victory for the Hardley Brothers. And they don't care who they are facing tonight either, because they are the best tag team in the whole world, and they loved going off script. Nicely done for the pair of them. 57 for the angle rating is good as well. And we move on to their match, where they face the makeshift team of Lance Storm and the debuting Sean Morley, and they lose to the Suicide Blondes and the Downward Spiral from Adam Impact. Defense number 4 of the tag titles for the Blondes, and they just keep ticking over. We're trying to get the Hardys up to a point where they can challenge successfully for the tag titles, and then we can do a back and forth between the two teams. But our tag division itself is a little bit naff now, especially with Booker leaving and Harlem Heat being kind of gone. So we need to look at some more tag teams, essentially. And the problem we've got, and then just as an aside to the results, the problem we've got generally on the roster is we've got a big group of wrestlers around about the 50 mark in popularity, and then some more sort of 25 to 30 and lower. Everyone in the middle either gets built up to the point where they leave, or doesn't increase their popularity. And we've got a big gap. So it's kind of hard to fill it at the moment. So we need people in around about the 30 to 40 range of popularity that we can start building people up with. That's the problem, anyway. That's what we're going to try and solve in the next few months. Anyway, 56 for the tag team title defense. And we move on to Rhino, and he defeats Rex King, and it's a poor match. Rhino's not going to be a long-term TV champion. I don't think he's got the match ratings in him at this point in his career. But it's a nice little fun run. He gores the living daylights out of Rex King and wins. 48. Disappointing, but the situation we're in at the moment, he's probably going to be poached by WCW soon. Anyway, moving forward, speaking of poached by WCW, it's Booker T, and he loses to Steven Regal. We're determined to get Regal over. And guarantee you, as soon as we do, he'll be off. But Regal wins with a Regalplex. A 62 match rating is good. Both men in the mid-50s. Hopefully, we'll start getting some momentum for Regal, and he'll start getting over. He won't. Mark Merrow is here as well, and this is a fantastic promo from him on his debut. He tells us that he used to be a bad man, but now he's just a wild man. And if you don't watch out, he'll knock you down for the count with his TKO. I don't really know where we're going here, but he's not Johnny B. Bad, he's Mark Merrow, and he's a boxer, wild man. I don't know what he is. 80 for his promo, though. What he is good. I'm thinking, little bit, spoiler alert, I'm thinking he might make Mark Merrow our TV champion. There we go. He looks. If he does well in the ring in his next match, he's got it hands down. Let's see. Next, he faces the. Oh, he does do well as well. He gets a 63 there. That is it. Mark Merrow. Excellent, excellent debut. This has solidified that Mark Merrow is going to be our next TV champion. There we go. That's all it took. Two really strong. An 80 promo and a 63 in-ring performance to get a 74 match rating against the kid is very good. I am definitely going to push Mark Merrow. There we go. Terry Funk then admits that he doesn't know what it is anymore, but either way, he's still got it and will win the world title back tonight in the four-way match. Well done, Terry. 85. That's even better than Mark Merrow. Now, that's high praise. Loved no script. Superb. Moving on to the main event, which he doesn't win, but it does get an 85 rating, and that's despite Perry Saturn being off his game. Rob Van Dam gets the victory, pins Saturn after the Van Terminator, and gets the job done for his 6th defense of the World TV title. Funk and Raven too busy fighting to stop the pin, and it gets an 85. Some great in-ring performances though. RVD at 83, Raven at 71, Funk at 77. Even off his game, Perry Saturn still drops to 65, which you cannot grumble about at all. Great main event, and afterwards, RVD may have won, but Raven is straight into his face. He tells him that he can't beat the former champion. The two men square up, and it looks like we need to run this back again. Raven and RVD is not finished. RVD can't beat Raven when the title's on the line, but can Raven beat RVD? Because he couldn't in that match last month at Ascension. We hit the time limit, but the promo afterwards gets an 81, and the overall show rating is a blooming 80. That, I'm certain, is our best show ever. And that's even with a production quality penalty for not being quite at the level of one of our rivals. If that doesn't give us a boost in every single region, which it has done, 18, I don't know what will. Let's have a look. Let's address the locker room first. Rob Van Dam, you've done an excellent job. We're going to mention Mark Merrow as well, because he did well. And we'll drop in Terry Funk, because why not keep him happy? In fact, no, Raven, because Raven wasn't particularly chuffed about not winning. So we'll do that. Hopefully that'll improve his morale. Hopefully it should do, Rare. Finance-wise, we have made $134,000 on that show. Huh? It's ridiculous. 150k in ticket sales, another 25 on merchandise. Obviously, no broadcast revenue yet because it's still on PBS. But next month, we should get some broadcast revenue as well. So we'll see how that works. Popularity-wise, up everywhere. Look at that. Look at that. We are rolling in the popularity increases. 57 now in the Southeast. 47 in the Tri-States. 42 in the Mid-Atlantic, Mid-South. Yeah, excellent. Up to 24s. Quebec and Ontario. 31 in Alberta. 17 Saskatchewan and British Columbia. I need to double check what we need for the two other networks in Canada. I've got in my head it's low 20s, but it might be a little bit higher than that. We'll have a check afterwards. We're going to broadcasting now anyway to sort out the A&E deal. So we'll go and check that out as well, because we've only got a week left on our PBS contract, so we can renew it now. Well, not renew it, replace it, because we're not renewing it. Obviously, that's the whole point of this episode. We're not renewing the PBS deal. Focus, Anders. Right. News, Full Throttle, viewed by 230,000 people. That will only increase next month when we get on a bigger network. Let's quickly look. Top events. That is easily, Full Throttle, easily the best event we've ever done. Ascension was close, but that has definitely blown it out of the water. Match-wise, it's the third best match, only just tipped out by a couple of Raven matches against some people we aren't allowed to mention anymore. Attendance-wise, easily over 1,000 more people in attendance than the month before. And TV ratings, we are, look at that, 0.3 compared to 0.18. Nearly 100,000 extra viewers for Full Throttle as we're on PBS for the final time. Right, broadcast deals. Before we go into anything else, let's quickly look at commercial cable in Canada. Who was it we wanted to go to? I can't remember. Was Omni one of them? Omni was one of them. We need 30 in 2 regions. And then, who was it? Sports Scope, I want to say. That's 23 in 4. Okay. 23 in 4 or 30 in 2. What are we close to? I mean, 6 points either way. Okay. So in about 5 or 6 months, we should be in the point where we can get one of those networks. But never mind. Right, let's go to our own broadcasting deals. Where are we here? Right, PBS is expiring on the 9th of March, so we are going to improve our coverage there. Obviously, the syndication for Unleashed ends on the 24th of April. So we're going to have to negotiate a new deal there soon. But it's time for the events one. So we'll look at all broadcasters. This is who will agree to negotiate with us. And commercial cable network A&E. They may be against wrestling. That's probably a potential issue. But they've got big coverage, so we'll do it. We'll negotiate now. New deal for events. And they want a minimum... I'm confused. They want a minimum of 3 episodes to be guaranteed? Yeah? We're going to do that anyway. What's your problem? Right, let's go for 9. And how many? Because we'll have All-Star as well each month. So, 27? Okay, right. Let's have a look at what they want to give us early. They're not keen on that time slot. Okay. Daytime they're happy with. Revenue split, we want to try and boost 25%, is that? So they want us to pay at 30. Daytime is a bit early. How about later on Graveyard? Will they give us more money at Graveyard? No. Okay, so we want daytime. We'll get more money from daytime. And that'll be okay. So next time, after 9 months, we'll probably be able to move up to early evening. And then maybe something better. But that minimum quality is quite high. Daytime of 48, though, is the minimum quality expected there. We're going to go 9 months, 27 episodes. So that's our monthly shows and both All-Star shows. Maybe we'll drop that a little bit because we might not be doing all the All-Star shows. We'll just go 25 events over 9 months. That's doable. It's fine. We can do that. Right, okay. They do want, exclusive rights. So that's fine. And 20, they're going to make us pay for 30%. Right, 25% company for the revenue. That's okay. We'll do that. Right, let's propose deal. Sign it. Let's go. Okay, and then we want TSN2 is what we want for our events. They've got Unleashed already, so let's negotiate for a new deal for events. They won't want to give us... Hang on. They will give us a year. We don't want a year. There's 3 months we want. And early evening. No, that one. 40% profit of the revenue split to us. Right, okay, that's fine. We'll just go for 3 months for TSN2 in the early evening. Again, rating of 44 is fine. No minimum proposed number of episodes. Excellent. We'll get a better view of that in the next few months as to where we are going. So PBS will run out before our next show in 6 days. Then we've got TSN2 coverage and big coverage now on A&E. And our first episode on A&E will actually be when we go to the Midlands. So that'll be fun. Right, I think that is probably where we're going to end Today, in fact, no. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do something stupid to end the episode. Broadcast quality. We're going for it. We've done it. We've upgraded our broadcast quality. We're now industry standard. We are spending so much money on our production. It's ridiculous. Right. We've done it. We've done that. We've spent 15 grand on the upgrade, and now we're going to spend 75 grand a month on the broadcast quality. Production costs through the absolute roof. But no more penalties for now. That's where we end the episode. So we'll do a little bit of recap now. We might as well. We're not far off medium. We are probably two months, maybe 1 month off medium, because we're at 57 in the southeast. Every other requirement needed is there. It's just a 59 in the southeast now. We are 6 popularity points away from a better deal in Canada, and I know we're near it in Mexico, are 11 popularity points away from a deal for the British Isles and Europe, which is what we're going to try and get over the next year. The Canadian one is probably going to be over the next 3 to 6 months, but we'll see how we get on. Championship situation is thus: RVD heavyweight champion, he's held it for now 57 days. Junior heavyweight champion is second time for Super Crazy, currently on 29 days. Tag champs, Adam Impact, Christian Cage, 115, which I think is the longest reigning champions we've got in the company currently. And then Rhino is our TV champion and has been for the last 3 days. Excellent. Right. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back with our next episode on the usual schedule. It's Saturday and Wednesday, so I believe this is going out on a Wednesday, so I'll see you on Saturday. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel, like the video, share it with some friends, check out the other episodes in the playlist, check out the WCW 2000 playlist. Millennium Final special episode is tomorrow. Check out Patreon as well. Thanks to the guys who are members over on the Patreon page. Appreciate you all for your support. And I'll see you next time. Thanks a lot. We've got some new broadcasting deals in place. Let's see how they get on.